Hi everyone, it's Ikue. Today is all about devoted to transform. And today is 26 Scorpio and next to 8. It's a Capricorn day in Scorpio. 2 represent I feel, 6 represent Libra's energy. I feel what I receive and I receive what I feel. Then you commit, you devote, you make decisions. So today is a very spicy day and making decisions. And so really about deciding what no longer serves us. And you get to really kind of cut the course with the Scorpio energy. And I've been feeling very spicy in the Scorpio season in general. If you're any Scorpions up here, I applaud you. It's hard to be that spicy all year round, but I'm enjoying and embracing this Scorpio spicy season because I'm a Libra. And it's all about harmony, love, peace, but there's this boundary of Scorpio come in. It's like, wow, I get to set this boundaries for myself. I set this discernment. I love using the phrase surrender with trust, but Scorpio season really surrendering with discernment and embracing all parts of ourselves and even the uncomfortable feeling like Scorpio. For me, lots of sacred rage. I like to use the phrase sacred rage for anger. If you guys feeling frustrated and literally angry, remembering about all the old times that people overstepped and or override, and all the times that you've been overlooked or underappreciated. All of that, for me, those things are a theme for me, and I'm here to transmute that, right? So today it got the powerful message in terms of making decisions and setting the line for yourself. But in order for us to know what stays in our body, things need to come up, right? So sometimes things get stirred, like triggered by the environment or come from the inside. But let us love ourselves, be kind to ourselves, choose ourselves, because I'm catching myself. There's a moment of doubts like coming in, like I might be on the right track, right? But this is where we need to trust. So let us set the good mood for the day. I already used this essential oils. Sorry, I was late for the live today because I was waiting for delivery. And I didn't want to miss the delivery. So I already used the Psychic Protection and Heart Chakra oil from Essential Oil Wizardry. And they were powerful, organic, energetically charged. And so I used that for myself and for people who are watching. And just know that, yeah, let's just rub our hands quickly. And create some space and heat. My hands, my feet tend to get colder. And my body is in general, low on a cold temperature side. Some people have a lot of fires. I do have my own fire, but normally I have a lot of cold. And I've been told, I think it's past life after past life, like life after lifetime. I have stored a lot of sadness and grief. That's why maybe I'm a Libra. Libra tend to store a lot of sadness and grief. And that it's just, we all go through our life experiences. So I'm accepting who I am. And it's okay that I am feeling cold. But then maybe that's why I love dancing, because dance helped me flow, right? Whatever that wounds that we carry, when we transmute them, it becomes a life purpose. And that's something that you come back to, right? If you get drifted, you carried away, you know where to come back to. That's your home. That's your vessel. This is your body. And it's okay to go out of alignment, right? I had a privilege and pleasure to have an Instagram live with Alana Joy yesterday, talk about grief. And in order for us to really know what happiness is, what joy feels like, we need to know the opposite so that we know when we come back to it. But I'm accepting that life is, it's about everything, experiencing everything. We all have preferences. This feels good for me. This doesn't feel good for me. But all this programming that we have carried, for centuries is coming up. One of the dreams that I have this morning was I was in school. I dream a lot about school. It's not the same school, but it's just a school setting, like how everyone is pushed into this system and you have to follow what the what the authority has to say. And I had to do an exam, but somehow I forgot about this math exam. So by the time I got there, I was late to sign up, sign up for the exam. And it's kind of like put your info in a system. But then I show up at the on time for the math exam. So what happened was I was able to take the exam, but my info was not properly in the system. So they couldn't grade me properly. And so I was just worried that, does this affect my graduation or credit, whatever? And the teacher was not really sure. And this is just a dream. And then afterwards, now I happen to have an exam, 3 exams tomorrow. And then I have to do like this exam for the third language, which happened to be German, because maybe somehow my subconsciously I remember that when I was in university, I had to pick a language and I picked German. So it's like, okay, I have like a couple of hours to study for German. And then there were like 2 other exams that I had to take. And then I was just like, the feeling that I had was basically, wow, in my, school days, I study and I'm always feel threatened for failure, and always had this pressure to do well in school so that I'm not a failure. And in fact, in my school days, I actually excelled. And I was just thinking, but in my dream, I was thinking I had to study hard so I don't fall behind. And I never felt I was smart. And so I felt pressure to do well in school. It's just kind of like the layers of anxiety, basically layers of anxiety and needing to do well in school. And I woke up and literally those patterns are coming up in my dream. We all process so much, whether we remember it or not, through our dream. So when I woke up, it's like, wow, this pattern that I stored and literally recorded in my fascia came out right now, because I don't live in the world anymore. I don't need to take an exam. I don't need to I don't need to do more to pressure myself to prove my self-worth or to do well in the world. I don't know if that's true. Maybe there will be some time that I need to do some exam, but I want to make those decisions out of love rather than out of fear, right? Here comes that pros and cons about school. I feel like more parents are more lenient and less strict to their kids. And I mean, not every kid, but I know one parent that at the end of it, like she figured it out. She doesn't pressure. I mean, at the end of it, the most important thing is for this kid is, did you do your best? Did you have fun? That's all that is. And I think as simple as that, because, at the end of it, it's not about how smart you are. Being smart is great, but are you surrounded by good friends? Like, are you nice to your friends, right? Those are like survival skill, but that's like the human skills that allow us to do well in the world. It's not about do well in school, right? Did you do your best? Did you have fun? And did you make friends? Or, are you were you kind to yourself? So when I go back to my school days, I did my best. Yes, I did not really necessarily have fun. I enjoy that achievement, but the process, not so much. And did I make many friends? It was always hard for me. So yeah, those programming, I gotta come up and we let it go. Today's message is super powerful, so let us just really enjoy that. So collective message for Embody Your True Essence today, Scorpio 26 degrees, I feel 2, and 6 I receive, and net to 8, and it's the highest decan of Capricorn in Scorpio season. So it's basically that commitment becomes devotion, and it's that powerful today. So today the field is thick with truth-telling current. Scorpio at 26 degrees cuts to the bone, not to wound, but to reveal. This is not a day for performative light. It is for raw presence, fierce receiving, and honest feeling. And when feeling meet receiving, we enter the portal of sacred decision. This is the moment the soul decides what it's no longer willing to carry. This is the moment the soul decides what it's no longer willing to carry. And I will show you what I've been carrying and what I'm not willing to carry anymore. Scorpio said, transform it or be consumed by it, right? Transform, transmute that feeling or being consumed by it. Capricorn says, commit or let it go, right? In or out. 0, like 100% or 0. Commit or let it go. And that this 8, net to 8 code whispers, let your body choose through sensation, not obligation. Let your body choose through sensation, not obligation. This is the power of saying yes or saying no. Every no leads to true yes, right? Today we embody our true essence by letting the pain speak before we judge it. And that's what I exactly been doing for the last, I don't know how long, but especially in this Scorpio season, the anger, right? There are different types of anger, layers of anger. Sometimes it's like come up a little bit of frustration, sometimes like intensive emotions. And I guess looking back, last Scorpio, I was literally walking through my own fire, going through my breakup. And so there was a lot of anger around the relationship. But this season is anger towards a different type of relationship. So very, very interesting. But those feeling pain come up, right? Letting the pain speak before we judge it or we suppress them, right? And feeling all the way in, this is where sometimes gets scary. Like, do I even have time for this, right? Giving the voice, giving the grief. Yesterday it was the Embody live with Alana. It was about that, giving grief a voice. Are we also giving a voice, anger, right? To our anger. So feeling all the way in without rushing to fix. We deserve to take our time. We deserve to take time, and our grief, our anger, our frustration deserve to have time for us, with us, right? And so feeling all the way in without rushing to fix, and saying no to being the emotional sponge, yes to being the fascia filter. So this is my language, but I really notice how I've been an emotional buffer, an emotional sponge for everybody because of this, kind, generous, gentleness nature that people maybe perceive, and people come across it's like, oh, Ikue's soft, she's Japanese, she's polite, and so people walked all over me and I didn't even notice that most of the time. So I say no to being the emotional sponge. I still show up to the world with kindness, but mostly kind to myself. It starts with me and ends with me, right? And yes, to be in the fascia filter means I consider my connective tissue, fascia, my dear fascia, as a living entity, conscious spirit, but also perceptional organ, so it's a filter, right? Layers of fascia is literally the filter. And the filter, the light comes in, the information, the energy, frequency come in, and the fascia filters it. Every time it filters, think of any filter, air purifier. Over time, the fascia gets dirty, dusty, distorted, and that's why our job is to keep our fascia filter clean so that we can perceive the light more beautifully and receive the most truest version of that light and information, so not the distorted version. And as we do that, let us set the boundaries for ourselves so we know when to say yes, when we know when to say no, right? That's the fascia filter. Now, honoring the ache as evidence of how deeply we loved, served, carried, that almost wanna cry. It's our love goes really deep. I think there's a time that we all get misunderstood, especially in a romantic relationship. Like, I love you so much, but something not reciprocated. But then on the other counterpart will feel the same, right? Like something not flowy. And but that ache that we feel is valid. Maybe we're not perfect. They're not perfect, and there's no this, right? The infinity and the flow and the figure 8. And now, I just thought about, this is so interesting. So this is infinity, that 8, right? So 888 is a portal, and it's wonderful, and it's like there's no starting point, there's no ending point. And that constant flow is the infinity sign, right? And sometimes we call this figure 8 or tilted 8. But I just thought about, so this movement in voguing is called lotus, or sometimes we call it figure 8. So maybe literally the lotus is infinity. Interesting. What I'm trying to say is that this constant flow of the figure 8 represent lotus, and lotus this is my one and only tattoos that I have, is a lotus. Not many people realize it's a lotus, but it is a lotus. And this is how we sort of rising from the ashes that becomes a phoenix, the Scorpio energy of death and rebirth. And I do hands-on session at my place, and my address is 999. 999. Some people know numerology, and when they found out my address to have a session, it was like, yeah, of course, death and rebirth. And I constantly think about it, death and rebirth. Maybe I'm meant to be in this space until I complete my own death and rebirth, right? And then we'll find a different place when I feel ready. I'm not in a rush. I don't need to rush. And we all deserve to take time to heal. So honoring the ache as evidence of just how deeply we loved, served, carried, but also we are still loved, served, carried. Now deciding not from ego, not from fear, but from fascia truth, right? The ache is not a setback, it's your sacred rehearsal. Every pang is your fascia remembering what was never yours to hold and melting it now. Yeah, we have carried so much that weren't even ours, and we constantly do that because of our programming. I think that a lot of, core belief, almost like core belief, but they were distorted. And for example, I need to constantly moving so that I feel safe, or I need to constantly please others so that I feel the proof of or value of existing on Mother Earth, and so I feel safe. Right? And there's a lot of goodness to that, but at the same time, as we are constantly moving forward and trying to please others so that you are being loved and become lovable, and so you feel that validation of existing on Mother Earth. And that's shaky ground, because there will be a time that will come that people are not happy with you. And then you need to make your decision. Am I going to keep the peace outside? Yes to things that my heart said no, 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 right? Or am I going to actually say no to this and honor my heart and keep my inner peace? Maybe there's a war happening around me because I said no. But then it's like, at the end of it, when you're true to your heart and inner peace is everything, right? Because if you keep saying yes to things that are against your heart, can you imagine if you're doing that over and over again for the next 10 years, 20 years, or we've been doing that for the last 10 years and 20 years, and that got us where we are. Maybe we're alive, but we do have like tightness and tensions and all that. Like those are the result of how we lived our life, right? And we're realizing, I think we're meant to go through that, right? Like I've seen this in numerology. Age 20, you do this, and age 30, and then age 40, 50, and that's when you started to really reflect and you're forced to, encouraged to look into, right, those patterns. So, yeah, it's okay to feel the ache of trying too hard to be lovable. Yeah. Oh, I love that. Man, reminds me of Gene Keys. And we are simple, but we are complicated, right? All those cocktails and ingredients, trait, the cultural aspect, social and past life, and all that make us, where we are, and patterns in our DNA, right? And that can be programmable. I've done some DNA reset, and it's really about the shower affirmations and programming ourselves that, we don't need to earn our spot on Mother Earth. We are safe by birthright. Those things it's really stored in our DNA. That's why we need to constantly remind ourselves, like, we don't need to earn our spot. We don't need to earn our safety on Mother Earth. We don't need to earn our abundance anymore. Can we really believe that you get paid to receive, for example, and then you're the creator. You get to set your intention, and you deserve it. You deserve it. You are deserving of wanting to do these things, right, that you desire. Now, aches, all the aches of being misunderstood, aches of overlooked, aches of being betrayed, right? Maybe there's the part that we were overgiving. As a woman, I think we all have that trait of overgiving, and because we weren't feeling good enough. So when we overgive, somehow we validate and it feels safe in ourselves. That's why we overgive. I think everyone have a different way of showing love, right? My way of showing the love, my love language is normally about hugging and, lots of touch. Some people are more like, monetary, if you give me gift, I feel lovable, right? Or some people just the acts of service, right? And it's okay to have that, but at the same time, let us be clear, right? And let's be clear about who we are, and all those emotions, anger, frustrations. I don't know, you can type in the comment what kind of emotions that are coming up quite a bit in your Scorpio season. For me, is quite, it's very obvious. it's the anger. Yeah, it's the anger, frustration, and the ache of, and then that also comes with the grief, because behind every anger, there is grief that, and underneath the grief, Alana Joy, who I had a pleasure having an Instagram live, yesterday, And it's kind of like the layers, right? Whether take it as a grain of salt, it's maybe not everything is like that, but there's an anger when you feel them all, right? And then you started to feel emotional, and that's maybe the sadness and grief, right? The pain, ache. Underneath all that, grief is really the different type of love that didn't have direction to go to, the love that didn't land. And because this person that I sent love to didn't have the capacity, or like many reasons, right? So behind anger, grief, sadness, behind grief, sadness, there is the love. So sometimes there's a love, and then it's not meeting in the middle. It's sometimes like, for me, I had the trait of overgiving, right? It go override it, and then, or the love that doesn't flow, right? It should be like this, infinity and lotus, and it goes like, so the flow. And every flow is different, and it's you get to have your own rhythm by trusting and not questioning. It's okay to go this way, but we go back, right? The home to come back to. I was in a dance class yesterday. I was talking about lots of concepts that we're dancing. Okay, now imagine you're in this stock market and you're dancing, right? It's creating a story. And as I was working on my arms and sometimes pointing and pose and start initiate, and the concept of the imagery, like, oh, I forgot that I was in this, like, because the concept was, imagine you're dancing, but you're in this state of 1960s stock market. I don't know what that really means, but everything is manual, not computer, right? So it's like people are screaming and pointing. And so that's the situation, maybe high anxiety. That's just part of like, the dance. And I said to my teacher, it was a great concept to work through, because as I was, maybe get carried away with all the arms and poses, and then, oh, I forgot that I was in the stock market. So I can gesture talking to my colleagues in the stock market. And it's like, it's like feeling all this, acting, right? And I said to the teacher, it was nice to remind myself and to come back to the concept when I get carried away. And I think what I'm trying to say is that when I get carried away with other things, right? And it's nice to come back to my body. It's nice to come back here because this is our home. And the home is where our love is, our happiness is. And we need to just work on the home. And the more we love ourselves, the more we choose ourselves, and we more magnetized we become. So taking care of this home, whether that's emotionally or physically, fascially, and that's what we need to do, right? Yeah, sadness and pain. My family wasn't a huggy family, but that's okay because we're all love in my family. With a whole grief, work on it day by day. Yeah, well, my family is surely not a huggy family because my family's Japanese. We will bow to each other rather than hugging. But yeah, definitely things are more westernized, right? But the hug is powerful. But my hug is probably the awkward version of what people would do when you come from huggy family. But that's okay, right? Now, the field is clear, the fire is lit, the emotions are valid, structure is shifting. Let the underworld burn away the false. You are being reborn in your own essence. Yeah. So Scorpio is a void, step 0 energy. Pluto, an underworld type of energy. in order for us to understand the joy, happiness, and where we want to go, we really need to face our shadow. And that's a 0 point, that's an underworld. And that's the energy that we are working through in the Scorpio season. Do you have good boundary for yourself? Do you have good discernment, right? And we only know what we want when we know what we don't want. So we're working through what we don't want. It's Scorpio season, so we know what we want. Now, okay, let's place our heart on our hands on our heart. I will say some affirmations. I no longer apologize for my depth. I no longer buffer what others are unwilling to feel. I no longer carry the cost of being misunderstood. I embody truth, and I let that be enough. I say this again. I no longer apologize for my depth. I no longer buffer what others are unwilling to feel. I no longer carry the cost of being misunderstood. I embody truth, and I let that be enough. Yeah. I embody truth. Even when no one understands me, even when no one, let me try again. I'm like really feeling lots of energy right now. Even when no one sees me, even when no one understands me, I see myself, I understand myself, and that's enough. And I let that be enough, right? Let us take care of our home and more loving, more kind, and any doubts, anger, frustration, sadness, grief, worry, yes, come up, and let us dance, move through that emotion, feel all the way in, and then once those emotions are met, it will start to dissipate, right? We'll trust that. Sometimes I feel like it's like, am I indulging myself in this feeling? And should I just need to snap out of this, right? Sometimes maybe that's the way to go, but sometimes go all the way in, right? Your anger, your frustration, your grief, your sadness, your worry deserve some time with us, right? You give it to them. And so that become whole, right? Become whole is really accepting all parts of ourselves. So if there's a part of us that judging this anger or sadness, then you're not whole because you're not accepting all parts of yourself. So we all are the beautiful collage of all our emotions. But those emotions need to be met, felt, cared, and so that it becomes a transmuting, it get transmuted, right? Yesterday, we were talking about kintsugi. So Japanese china, sometimes we have this technique when the china breaks, and we don't throw them away. Rather, we put the pieces by piece with the gold streaks and put them together and make an art. And I think that broken parts of us is a chance for us to create, and with that, transmute it with the golden light. And so that this golden light, it becomes more powerful, and you become more powerful because of all this broken piece. But not just stay broken, but that gold becomes the light. Alana called herself yesterday kintsugi. I held this broken body and then gone through so much, right? She had this DNA generative DNA kind of disease and disorder, and she considered herself kintsugi, and that was our first session together. And when I touched her body last week, and this is our fourth session, her body was completely different. It was not vulnerable like I felt. It was full of vitality and full of energy that I could feel from her fascia, from her body. So, and then that's when I would not realize what she told me at the first session. My body is kintsugi, with that broken pieces with the golden streaks. And what I felt from her body last Thursday was, it was more like that this golden streaks becomes the brighter light. And because it's so bright, that golden piece, the broken pieces with the golden streaks, the light is emanating through that broken pieces, like that, where it glued. And it's like that becomes the light being. And I thought, wow, that was beautiful. Anything's possible. Jinki, shadow, 18, judgment. Very interesting. Yeah. So there's that. I talk a lot today, but I wanted to share this because I had this so much energy, and the ache of being underappreciated, overlooked, and even betrayed. All these things are sacred for me, and I need to really face that part of myself, and maybe also understand the trade of overgiving. So it's about the energy exchange, right? If you honor yourself, you know when to say yes, and when you know when to say no. And your yes, it's secret. When you say yes to things, it's super powerful because maybe, because you don't easily say yes to things anymore. There's that boundary. So every no will lead to true yes. And let us move through this powerful time transformation. And cleanse yourself, cleanse your filter. Okay. Let's finish with the right hand on your heart, left hand on the top of your head. Energy circulate through your heart and the brain. Let's call out all parts of ourselves and come back home to our body. Breathe your mouth. 2, 3. Your nose. 2, 3. Repeat after me. Hello brain. Hello mind. Hello ego. Hello inner child. Hello body. Hello fascia. Hello heart. And you can call out any body parts that need extra love, extra attention, or diagnosis. Hello all parts of me. Thank you for working together in harmony. I love our perfect, loving, kind collaboration. Our inner balance, inner peace, inner beauty are intact. I feel peace in my body. I feel peaceful in my body. I am safe. I am protected. I'm guided. I lead with heart. I lead with love. I am enough. My presence is enough. I am worthy. I am worthy of perfect love, perfect health, unlimited abundance, amazing opportunities. I am joyful. I am powerful. It's safe to be me. It's safe to choose myself. The more I choose myself, the more everything else and everyone else will choose me. You can add anything you want. My body moves with me with ease and joy. I don't need to try so hard to prove myself. And slowly come on. How you guys feeling? thank you guys for tuning in. And today is 26 degrees Scorpio. If you feel lots of hidden emotion come up, not just today, but in this entire Scorpio season, you are safe. You are still on the right track and in alignment. And you get to choose yourself over and over again. And it's not selfish to choose yourself. And it's not selfish to say no, right? Lead with heart. Yes, you're very welcome, Andrea. And lead with your kindness. And it's okay to take time to slow down. Your anger, your frustration, your grief, your worry needs some space and deserves some time with you. So let us give it to them, when they come up, right? It's about the balance. So thank you guys for being here. I will sending you so much love, and I will see you back tomorrow. Take care. Bye, everyone.